Ladies and gentlemen, so I have here an article from the Washington Examiner, which I will, in full disclosure, say leans right. The headline is Democrats okay with fines, prison, and mandates for vaccine deniers in a poll by Paul Bernard. I will go so far as to say leftist. Let's read the article and I'll show you the hypocrisy in this. Nearly 2 years after former President Donald Trump tossed politics into the nation's battle against the coronavirus, the partisan divide appears to have grown, with Republicans fighting mandates and Democrats calling for harsh punishments for those who refuse to get vaccinated. In an expanded survey of the public's view of mandates and punishments to get people vaccinated, Rasmussen reports found that Democrats even support fines, home confinement, and prison for those who fight the government on masks and shots. Over several questions in a survey for the Heartland Institute, the differences in how Republicans and Democrats view the crisis were stark. Consider 29% of Democrats would go so far as to support taking children away from parents who refuse to be vaccinated. Like I said, I've replaced liberals with Democrats with leftists. The first question in the survey set the tone. It asked if likely voters approved of coronavirus czar Dr. Anthony Fauci. Just 21% of Republicans said they view him favorably, compared to 75% of Democrats. Next came a question on President Joe Biden's mandate that companies of 100 employees or more should demand workers to get vaccinated. Just 22% of Republicans agreed, while Democrats were all in at 78%. Asked if voters favor a federal or state fine for those who refuse the vaccine, only 19% of Republicans said favor to 55% of Democrats. You can see the breakdown. Rasmussen next asks if people favor home confinement for those who are not vaccinated. On the GOP side, 79% were opposed, while 59% of Democrats favored it. The survey also asked about those who challenged the government's view of vaccines and if opponents should be jailed or fined for questioning it on social media. A remarkable 48% of Democrats supported those punishments. Nearly half of Democrats favored fixing tracking devices on those who refused to vaccinate. Rasmussen added that Biden supporters would go even further than Democrats. President Biden's strongest supporters are most likely to endorse the harshest punishment against those who won't get the COVID-19 vaccine. Among voters who have a very favorable impression of Biden, 51% are in favor of government putting the unvaccinated into designated facilities. Read concentration camps. And 54% favor imposing fines or prison sentences on vaccine critics, said the pollster. On critics of the vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. You have a party. Keep in mind, they're running on prison reform. Rashida Tlaib and the squad and all these leftists want to shut down all the prisons and jails. They started doing it in California. AOC's big thing in New York is to close down Rikers Island. So they will let out, see if you can grab this logic, because I really can't. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. They will let out murderers, rapists, armed robbers, career felons. But if you refuse the vaccine, if you don't do what they say, they want you jailed. There was another party who had that same mentality, exactly same, down to the letter. I forget the name of it. Really having trouble. Started in the 30s. Started with an N. Oh, well, it'll come to me. Ended with an I. It'll come to me. Anyway, think about their mentality. They don't want to punish crime in many liberal cities, many blue cities. Sexual assault, armed robbery, assault and battery, breaking and entering are misdemeanors now. And they're not allowing the cops to arrest for misdemeanors. You think I'm joking? Go look up Seattle, look up San Francisco, look up Los Angeles, look up New York, look up Detroit, look up Chicago. And all those names have something else in common. They're shitholes. That's just really bothering to me. People are so hypnotized. You would want a parent separated from their kid just because they didn't want to get a vaccine. That you would send somebody to a concentration camp just because they didn't want a vaccine. You are the Nazis. Please send this to one of your leftist friends. You are, I'm talking to the leftists. You are the Nazis, or any of you belong to a leftist Facebook group because you like taunting them or whatever. Send this video, post this video on there. You have my full permission to do that. You are the Nazis. This article enraged me. I'm still enraged. You can tell I'm talking at kind of a heavy tone. What the hell are they thinking? What are they thinking? And at a time like this, you would be absolutely insane. One, to give up your Second Amendment rights. And two, at this point in time in history, not keeping your powder dry. That means keep your stuff ready to go. We're at a turning point, see? Now, here's what I believe. I was going to do a whole video on it, but I'll just tie it into this one. Christine Sinema, Joe Manchin are actually saving the Democrat Party from themselves. And people like Maxine Waters and Joe Biden knows it. Maxine Waters and AOC and Nancy Pelosi don't see it. Now, if Joe Manchin or Christine Sinema were older and they were not going to run for office, you know what I do? Or even if you're going to run for office, hey, I give the Democrats my vote. Hey, get rid of the filibuster. Enact all the stupid laws you want. Take away the Second Amendment. Take away the First Amendment. Enact vaccine mandates, vaccine passports. Raise inflation through the roof. Drive the national debt out of control where it can't be captured. Because that would, and then I'd become a Republican. Because that would absolutely, once those things took effect, ensure that no Democrat was elected for another 20 years, and the Democrats who passed it would be out of office. And you don't have to believe me, I got receipts. Go look at places that are truly blue. Look at New York. It's a crime-infested shithole. Look at Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, homeless in the streets. You just had a nurse in Los Angeles, a 30-year nurse, was attacked and killed by a homeless man who punched her for no apparent reason. She hit the ground so hard it fractured her skull and she later died in the hospital. Now, that homeless man had an extensive criminal history. He was wanted in several states. But see, they don't punish crime. They don't do anything about it. And then the kicker is, they don't want you to defend yourselves. They want to take away your Second Amendment rights. So for people to back that, you are in a cult. You're part of the modern day Nazi party. I have a subscriber, I keep forgetting her name even though she just messaged me yesterday. But stop calling them liberals. And I think she's right. It's time we just started calling them Nazis. Hell, they call themselves the Democratic Socialist Party. Might as well just call them Nazis. They might as well just call themselves Nazis. And the people who support them are worse than the leaders who speak it. Because the people who support them are the ones who are going to have to live it. These leaders are isolated. They don't care about you. They just care about their agenda and what they think, not walking amongst the people, what they think is right. Or not even right. What they think is the right way to power and to hold and maintain that power. When you look at people like AOC and Rashida Tlaib, and they know their policies don't work. Gavin Newsom, de Blasio, what's his name out of Washington? I used to work on his campaign staff, my dumb ass. Anyway, they know their policies don't work, and they know they're destroying the cities and the states that they rule over. Not rule over, should be served for, but actually they rule over. Bowser in D.C. D.C.'s a shithole. It's the nation's capital, and it's a shithole because of leftist policies, Nazi policies, right? So if Manchin and Sinema really want to do something, they come out and say, hey, we're going to vote for this. And then we're going Republican because we want to show you what Democrats will get you. Give them the vote. Go Republican the next day. No problem. You get elected. People get to see what these policies really do. And I guarantee you that's the quickest way to the second American Civil War. A lot of people aren't going to stand for it. But see, they're so used to people doing whatever they say, whenever they say it, they think Americans will. No, we won't. I just wanted to show to you the mind state. They'll arrest and confine and put in a concentration camp, take your kids of an average, everyday, law-abiding American citizen. Rapists, murderers, pedophiles, armed robbers, home invaders. They should be free because they're just misunderstood. You know, not you, because you're not doing exactly what they say. You're a threat to the new Nazi party. Yes, you. And I say keep being a threat. If you want to continue to be a threat, keep watching the Dan Dawson Show. Send this to your leftist friends. Hell, send it to your liberal friends, your Democrat friends, your Republican friends, your far right friends. Send it to everybody. Screw it. We got to go to war now. But like, subscribe, share. And as always, especially in these days and times, keep your powder dry and do what you got to do.